Hey, what's happening, Roland? Well, today's Friday, and it's the time for my weekly update. Well, it's another thing about today's Friday. It's also Christmas Day. I just got back from Clewiston, Florida. I saw my son Scott and his family, and they're all just doing fine. I gave them all the presents and stuff, and then I went and saw my daughter Laura and her husband and three little kids. We had more fun. I got up this morning like 4 o'clock. I mean, Christmas Day is a big challenge for me, because I got two families to kind of serve. I got to go to Clewiston, which is an hour and a half drive each way. I've already driven 3.5 hours today. Now it's midday. It's time to meet my other extended family, Judy's family, and we're going to have Christmas dinner in just a second. We're going to open more presents. But anyway, that's just kind of the deal. Here's the real big deal. Look at this. Look at my arm. Look at that. My arm is almost totally healed now. My doctor said 2 days ago, I said, Doc, I got to go fishing. I haven't fished in 3 whole weeks. What can I do? He said, fine, you've really done, your rehabilitation's fine. I have good mobility. I can fish starting next week. So I'm getting ready. I got my nitro boat already. And for, say, Okeechobee, I'm going to take my little heritage boat. I'm going to take it down to some of the ponds in the area, just probably the Orange Grove. We'll go to the Orange Grove for sure next week. But here's the other issue. It's really a big issue. Coming up in end of December right now, this is the coldest day of the year. That's kind of a problem. Now, years ago, I wrote a book. It was called Roland Martin's 101 Bass Catching Secrets. And I talked about all the reasons why bass bite. This is quite a book. Winchester, I really talked about the exact set of water and cover conditions, all the temperature and the depth of the water, and all these scientific things, and how to find fish and how to pattern fish. Well, Winchester Press was making this publishing of this book, and they said, Roland, you got the second most successful book we've ever had. And I said, what do you mean the second most? He said, well, we've sold 140,000 copies. This is going back about 25 years. And I've done several editions since then, and it's out of print right now, but it might be on eBay. But I'm not trying to sell the book. I'm just telling you what happened with Winchester Press. They said, Roland, you sold 140,000 copies of this book. It's the second most successful. I said, well, what's the first most successful? They said, a book on bird watching. I said, bird watching? What are you talking about? So evidently there's more bird watchers than there are bass fishermen. Well, that reminds me of something else. Let's walk towards the shop, and I'll talk about water temperature. Right now it's cold. It's 50-degree temperatures. I got my coat on. And because of that cold weather, Florida has really a problem. If you're coming down to Florida and you want to make a big trip out of fishing, don't hit this cold front like this. You got to have a warming tent. You got to have water temperatures close to 70 degrees before you're going to catch a lot of fish. So watch your temperatures, and make sure that the water temperatures aren't too cold, because I'm telling you, if you get this 50-degree water temperature like you have right now, you're not going to catch anything. I throw in the whole state of Florida. My son can't catch them. Nobody can catch fish when it's like 50 degrees here in this state. So you need warmer water. So watch the weather and try to get these warming trends. So that's what it tells you in the book, and I talk all about water temperature in general. My favorite temperature is 80 degrees, and that's what I really like to fish if I can find it. And you know, we're kind of lucky right now, because here in Florida we got 2 really, really good spots to fish. One is this A1 place down here in the Everglades, and I've been fishing it out of a small little boat. You see me in my canoe, you see me in my little John boat. Hey, that's really a good deal. It's open 3 days a week. Plenty of bass in the 5-pound class, 6-pound, 8-pound. And the other good spot is up here at Fellsmere. It's called the Headwaters Pond. It's part of that stick marsh thing that you probably heard about over the years, last 20 or so years. And it's just a phenomenal lake. It's a 10,000 acre reservoir the state of Florida has built, called Headwaters Lake. And I've been taking my regular bass boat up there, and it's really, really paying off. Well, you know, we were talking about bird watching. When it's cold like this and you can't fish, I've been doing something else. I've been actually I love turkey hunting. Bass fishing is my number one thing in life, but my second number thing is turkey hunting. And I've done all the Grand Slams back in the 80s. I did Grand Slams. I Grand Slam with the bow and arrow, Grand Slam with the muzzle loader, Grand Slam. I did all sorts of stuff. I traveled almost every state that had turkeys. But now I don't do that anymore. Now I just enjoy taking my grandsons and granddaughters fishing. For example, this last year, I took my granddaughter Hillary, and that was one of her Christmas presents today. I took the turkey fan, I had mounted this great big turkey fan for her, and had this big pelt, and we hang it on the wall, and I had it all treated, and all the taxidermy work was good, and it was just something she'll hang up. And I also took Reed, my other grandson, my second oldest grandson, took him this year. He cut a monstrous turkey out there at the Orange Groves at Tony Adams' place, and it had 1.5 inch spurs, great big giant bird. We're getting the whole thing mounted. So anyway, that's just some of the things that are happening. But also announced, because I couldn't fish, I was doing a lot of turkey call making last week, and I've really had a lot of response, because what I've done is this is my favorite call. This is the Neil Kosh boat paddle. It's so famous. But for 40 years, I've been making this. I knew Neil. And I'd call him on the phone. I'd say, Neil, I love your call, but I'd like to make one. So he said, sure, let's try it. So I started making them. And here's one I made, okay? And it's just the same thing. It's exactly the same size. And listen to this. Really, really a good sign of call. That's out of walnut and butternut. Here's one I made out of walnut and cedar. Another good one. Now, I just kind of offhandedly said, you know, oh, by the way, these Neil Kosh calls are thousands of dollars. But my call, I've never sold. I was just thinking of amounts last week that I'd start selling them at $200. It's a real discount. My son said today, she said, Scott said, Dad, don't sell them for $200. Sell them for $400. Because I'm going to autograph them like Neil did. See, like here's one that Neil did. He autographed the whole thing, and then here's one I did. I autographed it too to another person. Here I made my cameraman one just this last week. Well, that's not a good one. That's not a good one. But anyway, I'm making all kind of calls. So, if you want to call, turkey season's coming up. I'll make you an autographed, custom-made call, $200. Get in touch with Judy M. at fishingwithrolandmartin.com. Get your own call. I'll really get to work on it. In fact, I'll be working this whole week. I got all these things cut out. Look at some of the butternut I got ready to go. I'm getting this kind of ready. And I can make my first little run. I'm going to make 50 calls. I'm going to cut them all out. And the first run's going to be just 50 right now. But anyway, it's going to be a big deal. I really enjoy doing it. So that's what's happening in my world. A little bit of fishing, a little bit of turkey hunting. Christmas is here. And so, folks, I really appreciate you tuning in and hit that likes button. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you again soon.